I think, in a Super League match in this game, which he'll be all the better for, and Darrell Clarke will be rested up for that semi-final.
Yeah, can't argue with that. And he'll have his work cut out because I'm sure Castleford are going to play better in the semi-final than they did against Leeds.
Well, we'll get on to that game now then, shall we? It was Castleford 6, Leeds 60. It was Castleford 6, Leeds 32 at half-time. It was, in fact, Castleford 6, Leeds 0 after a early 2 minutes into the match. But that was as good as it got. Liam Moore was the referee for this one. And in terms of the stats, Leeds made over 650 more metres at 1.8 metre per carry, better average gain. They had 10 breaks to 1 on their way to an 11-try haul. Castleford hit the double disaster of under 1,000 metres and below 90% team tackle success rate. So,
you're not winning.
They were bad. Leeds were good.
Game with that.
You're not being within 30 points in a game when you do that.
Not doing that.
Jack Broadbent had one try assist, 180 metres and 2 clean breaks, this time playing on the wing to prove that he can play in all of the back positions. Conrad Hurrell with a try assist, 9 tackles, 138 metres. Richie Myler with a try, 4 try assists and 100 metres. And Tom Briscoe, 2 tries, 1 try assist, 5 tackles, 106 metres and 2 clean breaks. For Castleford, just one person hit the notes that we look for, and that was Darrell Alferts with 107 metres. There has been something out of the disciplinary on this one. George Griffin got a grade B dangerous contact penalty notice, 1 match ban for George Griffin. And so he really won't have enjoyed his 150th game. And Danny Richardson got a caution for dangerous contact.
I bet if he made any contact at all, Danny, but there you go. Fan views. Pop the Viking says, well, that was a shock. A great result for Leeds after some poor performances. Cass just not at the races.
White Pie said, Operation Piss the League dies on its arse. At this rate, Pal won't see out the year and will be white at wire before the end of the season. I think I think the people at Wire might have a different view to that, but not necessarily the people at Cass. We'll see.
Fat Boy Rob, spelt PhatBoiRobb.
Yes, the street Rob.
The street version.
Yes.
Yeah. Operation #Piss the League storming on. Putting more than half a century on Leeds makes my day. #Agar in. #Gale chose wrong. #Come on you. Fuck Metha can't be the score.
And the real Fat Boy Rob said,
Fuck me, that can't be the score.
The real Fat Boy Rob said, it all started so well. Table in the blower, a couple of pints, seeing Dom's stupid face and a try in the first minute. Yesterday, an SLP meet-up, the first for some considerable time for this game between the Cass and Leeds fans there. After that, it all went tits up. The team was weak enough, and Eden and Richardson going off in the first 10 minutes didn't help. Leeds scored at will. We only got into the Leeds half 2 more times in the first half. The second half wasn't any better. We made Hurrell look like Jonah fucking Lomu. We'll win the semi. See, this is one thing I wanted to get to the bottom of. Did Eden and Richardson go off with injuries, or was it through kind of coaching decisions? Because Richardson came back on late on in the game, is what I've heard. So, weird one.
Very odd.
But the defence was torn up down his side, so...
Well, Saints fans are not hugely surprised that Danny Richardson's defence isn't the very highest of his skill set.
No.
Tom Andrews says, who knew a Rhino was capable of sinking the HMS Pistol League? Defence looked all at sea, missing a fullback on the team with all the fullbacks. Bet Baldy enjoyed his try under the sticks.
Yeah. The highlights for this game genuinely had me asking, do Cass have a fullback on the field? Because that many of them seemed there wasn't one. I I have to say that Jordan Turner's opening try, he's having a great year individually, try scoring mistakes. He was playing in the halves this week in place of Truman, who of course he'll be back next week. But that was a really good score, and it did show up some of the defensive challenges that Conrad Hurrell has, because it was Hurrell that Turner dummied and then got away from to make his initial break, and then he finished off really well. But that was all she wrote for Cass. It was as good as it got. Hurrell himself, on the other side of things, did pick up a highlight reel try for himself with like a run inside that he made, and then a chip and chase to under the sticks. He ran a long way for covering what was 10 metres from goal to the goal line, but he went the long way around it, and it looked impressive, and he enjoyed it. I think the Cruz Leeming try, which was Leeds' third try in quick succession in the first 20 minutes, that maybe was the best of what were a number of tries that were worked well in tight spaces down Leeds' left or Castleford's right defence. That was maybe the pick of those several tries that were interplayed along that side, involving Broadbent and Briscoe, who looked better in the centres than he's looked in his previous games in the centres. So that all worked really well for Leeds. I don't know how much of that was poor Castleford defending. I mean, it was, Matautia and Alferts were down that edge, so not players who haven't been playing there all season, with Danny Richardson inside them, and I'm guessing Senny Lefeo in the second row. But then they swapped it all around, and Matautia went to fullback, and I'm guessing Senny Lefeo went to centres. Well, you've got a problem there then. And Danny Richardson talked about his defence. So yeah, there were a few omissions, weren't there? For Shenton as well as Truman wasn't playing for the Tigers. No Niall Evans. I don't know if he'll be back for the cup game, but they really need him to be. But yeah,
I always think when a coach makes a choice to rest players ahead of a big game, you're not just losing the skill sets of those players. Psychologically, I think it affects the whole team. This game just isn't as important as what's coming next week. And in top-level sport, the majority of it's played in the head. And if you're not absolutely on your game, you'll get a trolling. And that's exactly what happened in this game. So,
well, that's right. Captain Shenton not playing, Holmes and Massey, two other leadership players in that group, not playing, and I think through choice and on a lot of those selections, maybe it made some of the players that were playing feel like this isn't the important game. I need to get through this game rather than put everything into this game, and so maybe that was part of it mentally for Castleford. But this is a real shellacking. I mean, the Rhinos, all we talked about this year is how they have no cohesion in attack. The games they've won against Wakefield, we felt there was an element of, did they really deserve to win them, sort of thing as well. And so this turns the conversation around maybe for Leeds, does it?
Well,
Gale and Milo are working really well together, creating a lot of opportunities. Cruz Leeming had a very good game as well. Have they sorted out their spine, or has it just been played at the right time?
We'll find out. I mean, obviously they get a week off this week, but we'll find out when they come back next into action. But it might have been just what Leeds needed. I mean, and again, I don't want to underplay what Leeds did in this game. I just think that when you've got a team who weaken themselves deliberately before coming into the game, it just doesn't help, and so it's given Leeds a leg up. But all credit to Leeds for taking advantage of that, and now we'll see in the next game they play whether they can carry that through into possibly a more competitive encounter.
Yep. To round things off, young Morgan Gannon got his first professional try, and that long-range Luke Gale try to close things off, taking the ball on the inside from a limping Conrad Hurrell break, that will have stung the Cass fans just as much as the scoreline, I think. So if any of them were left at that point in the 78th minute. But interesting and long night for Cass. Lots, you'd think, for them to review ahead of next week's game against Wyre.
Indeed.
What happened on the TV game on Friday night?
Well, it wasn't on TV for me. This is the first game I managed to attend in person since I was at Cass to watch Saints last March. So it was Saints against Hull FC, a preview, I hope, of this coming weekend's Challenge Cup semi-final. At half-time, it was Saints 22, Hull 4, and at full-time, it was Saints 34, Hull 16. The referee was Chris Kendall. In the stats, here we go again. 100 more metres. It's over 1 metre per carry, better average gain. 8 breaks to 2. The stats read as one-sided as the games we've just covered and that had my wider margins this week, and this should have been a wider margin as well, Mark. Closer tackle success rates and a few more errors than Wyre and Leeds contributed is probably why Saints didn't have the same sort of scoreline in this game. I think we were just slightly sloppy near the line, particularly in the second half. Otherwise, we'd have had at least 2 or 3 more tries. I think we're a little bit unlucky, 1 or 2 of the calls as well. For the winners, Alex Walmsley, 172 metres and 4 offloads. Joel Thompson, 156 metres. Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook, 6 tackle bucks and 122 metres. Jack Wellesby, 3 tries, 107 metres and 2 clean breaks. But for me, by the way, the 2 real star players for Saints were Johnny Lomax and Morgan Knowles, but they don't make the stats review.
Well, Lomax and Farge both have 3 try assists each. They were both fantastic.
They were very good, and Morgan Knowles' defence and movement down the middle was brilliant. It was one of the best games I've seen him play for a long, long time. It was great to see him back.
It's one of the first games you've seen him play for a long, long time.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
He's lost nothing whilst he's been injured, that's for sure.
No, I think if anything, he's come back a bit stronger. Losers, for the losers, Danny Horton, the usual, mate, 47 tackles. Josh Griffin, 124 metres. We handled him quite well, I thought. Mane Fanua, 2 tries and 119 metres, and Mano Mao, 110 metres. Anything from the disciplinary, Mark?
No, nothing to worry about for either side ahead of the semi-final, so we'll get into the fan reviews where Pob the Viking said, Saints the better team and it could have been a bigger scoreline if some of the passes had stuck.
Scoot says, positives. We don't have to drive home and follow hundreds of diversions. It's a good positive. Salford and Leeds played this week and the video referee. In all seriousness, the biggest positive is we played for 80 minutes and not 20 like we would have done last year.
Aidan Stalker said, when there are no fans, Sky are not happy. When there are fans, Sky are not happy. I'll tell you what I am not happy about. Who the hell dressed Phil Clark and Brian Carney? Jack Wellesby is lovely, by the way. Do you know, maybe I've got so used to, Phil Clark looking a bit weird or what have you, standing out for his wardrobe choices or whatever. I didn't bat an eyelid at what they were wearing this week. I can't even picture it. So I've got no question marks about it because it just has totally skirted me by, Aidan.
I am lucky enough not to have having seen it being in the ground. Paige says, can't expect to win matches when you can't complete your sets and get the basics right. The score flattered us. Much needed improvement for next week to even get close to beating them.
Tom Andrews said, the average-looking Saints ripped the mythical top 4 club to shreds in this game. Hull had no speed, the playmakers went missing for large parts and couldn't complete their sets. If the ref wasn't so kind to Hull, would have easily been 50.
Joshua's granddad says, bad day at the office, didn't get off the bus, too many individual errors, not fast enough, not strong enough, take your pick of excuses. Thought Kendall had one of his best games, which tells you everything you need to know. No ref bashing, and the VR saved us from an embarrassing scoreline.
And Mike Webb 58 said, blistering performance from Saints and other results perhaps put last week's Catalans defeat in perspective. King Jack is now a winger, but I thought Morgan Knowles was awesome.
We both agree on that.
I don't think any of the video refereeing calls were wrong. They were just unlucky.
Yeah, no, I agree mostly, I think, on that. I mean, I haven't, to be honest, I haven't watched it back, Mark. I only watched it live in the ground.